I paid off my parents' mortgage the week my dad turned 68. I did it quietly. On purpose. No announcement. No group chat. No, look at me, moment. Just one wire transfer. One payoff confirmation. And one clean deed with my parents' names only. My name is Olivia. I'm 33. I'm a senior financial analyst. And I live like a person who trusts math more than promises. I meal prep on Sundays. I keep a spreadsheet for retirement contributions. I own exactly one piece of furniture I bought brand new. And it's a desk. Because that's where the work gets done. I'm telling you this so you understand something. I don't make financial moves on impulse. I make them because I've already run every scenario and I'm trying to prevent the worst one. My parents have lived in the same house for 31 years. A 3-bedroom colonial on a cul-de-sac in a suburb that used to be affordable and slowly stopped being. My dad worked HVAC installation most of his life. My mom did bookkeeping for small businesses. The kind that paid inconsistently and never offered benefits. They weren't irresponsible. They were just two people working hard while the goalposts kept moving. By the time I was in high school, the mortgage had been refinanced twice. Once to cover my dad's back surgery. Once, after a brutal winter, when 3 of my mom's clients folded at the same time. The house was their only real asset. They were behind on it in that quiet, grinding way that proud people get behind. No drama. Just stress they swallow. 18 months ago. My dad called me on a Tuesday morning. His voice had that flat tone that means he already burned through fear and landed somewhere worse. He said the bank sent a notice. They were 90 days behind. He told me he didn't want to worry me. I asked him to scan and send the notice. He apologized while he did it. That was the part that broke something in me. My dad has never asked me for anything. Even then he wasn't asking. He was just informing me. Like he was reporting the weather. I looked at the numbers. I ran the math. The payoff amount was $176,800. I had savings. Not because I was lucky. Because I lived below my means for years and said no to a lot of things people call fun, and I call temporary. I wired the full payoff amount that Friday. I instructed the bank to list my parents as sole owners. Free and clear. I asked for deed confirmation to be mailed to their address and copied to me. I told my dad only that I had taken care of something and he didn't need to worry. He asked what I had done. I said I would explain when I saw him. He was quiet for a moment and then said, "Okay, sweetheart." Like he understood even if he didn't have the words yet. I did not tell my sister. Not out of spite. Out of pattern recognition. My sister, Melissa, is 4 years older than me. She married Brent when she was 26. Brent sells commercial real estate and has opinions about everything and expertise in nothing. They live in a big house, 40 minutes away. 2 vacations a year. Their kids wear brand name gear. I'm not resentful of any of it. I'm clear-eyed about one thing though. They have always had enough. And they have never offered any of it toward my parents. If I told Melissa I paid off the mortgage, she would reframe it as a collaboration within a week. Within a month, Brent would be sitting at my parents' kitchen table talking about strategic options like the house was a portfolio. I was not interested in watching my parents' one piece of security become a talking point at Brent's dinner table. So I planned a simple surprise. Drive up the next Saturday. Take them to their favorite diner. Tell them over coffee and pie. I prepared a folder with the payoff confirmation, the recorded deed, and a 1-page note that clarified the property was theirs outright with no claims or encumbrances. I also consulted a real estate attorney beforehand, because I know how families get weird when money becomes visible. I did not make it to the diner. I turned onto my parents' street and saw Melissa's minivan already in the driveway. Something in my chest went still. The way it does right before a difficult conversation. My mom was sitting on the porch steps with her coat on. Like she'd been told to wait outside. Brent was standing in the doorway holding a folder like it was a presentation prop. And he was smiling. He stepped forward. Olivia. Good. You're here. We should talk. I didn't answer him. I went to my mom first, sat beside her, and asked if she was okay. She said she was fine. Just getting some air. She said Melissa was inside with my dad. I walked in. My dad was in his recliner with the stillness of a man trying very hard not to say the wrong thing. Melissa sat on the couch with papers in her lap. When she saw me, her expression shifted into something that was trying very hard to be warm. Olivia, she said, I was going to call you. I looked at my dad. He looked back with eyes that said everything he wasn't going to say out loud. I asked what was going on. Melissa launched into it smoothly. She and Brent had been thinking about mom and dad's situation. Now that the mortgage was paid off, there were real opportunities. The property had appreciated. Brent thought it made sense for the family to think strategically about the asset. I asked what she meant by the family. She smiled. Rehearsed. We're all in this together. Mom and dad are getting older. This house is a big responsibility. Right on cue. Brent walked into the living room and held up his folder. He said he drew up a proposal for a family property agreement. He said it was a formality to make sure everyone was protected. Then he looked at my dad and said, You'd still live here. Obviously. As long as you're able. He said it like he was being generous with something that wasn't his. I asked to see the folder. Brent handed it over with the confidence of someone who has never once had someone actually read what he handed them. I read it. It took me 3 minutes. It was a co-ownership agreement that would add Melissa and Brent to the deed as equal owners. It had a clause requiring majority consent for management decisions. It had a clause about rental income being distributed equally among title holders. It had a clause about buyout rights if any party wanted to exit, requiring an appraisal and 30-day notice. My dad was 68 years old, sitting in the house he bought when I was 1. And my brother-in-law had written a clause about buying him out. I closed the folder. If you were in my position, would you stay calm? Or would you blow up right there? Comment yes or no. My voice stayed measured, the way it does in budget reviews when someone submits numbers that do not add up. How did you find out about the payoff? I asked. Brent glanced at Melissa. Melissa looked at the carpet for half a second. I asked Melissa directly how she found out. She said Mom mentioned it. She said Mom sounded happy and she just wanted to understand what happened. She said she had a right to know about something that affected the whole family. My mom had not told her. I knew that. My mom was outside on the porch steps looking like someone who wanted to disappear. Then I remembered something. 2 weeks earlier, I had emailed my parents' bank with a follow-up question about the recording timeline. The reply would have gone to the joint email account my parents share. The same email account Melissa helped set up years ago. I said it out loud. Slowly. You have access to their email account. Melissa's chin came up. She said she helped set it up and never got around to transferring the password. She said it wasn't like she was spying. She was just trying to help. Brent tried to smooth it over. Let's not make this into something it isn't. I looked at my dad, both hands flat on the arms of his recliner. Still, focused, waiting to see what I would do. I set Brent's folder on the coffee table. Then I opened my own folder. First, the recorded deed. My parents' names only, free and clear. Second, the wire transfer confirmation from my personal account to the lender. Third, a 1-page letter from the real estate attorney I consulted. It stated my parents had no legal obligation to enter any co-ownership agreement. It also stated that pressuring them could constitute undue influence, which is legally actionable. Brent stared at the stack like he wasn't prepared for evidence. I said, I paid off this house because it belongs to my parents, not to the family, not to an asset portfolio, To my mother and father who have lived here for 31 years. Melissa's voice softened, like she was switching tactics. She said she was just trying to look out for them. Same as me. She said it wasn't my place to make this decision unilaterally. I said, I did not make a decision about their lives. I paid a debt so they wouldn't lose their home. I handed Brent's folder back to him. This agreement is not getting signed. Ever. I said. And if either of you tries to bring papers back here when I am not present, I will refer it to the attorney whose letter you just read. Before I tell you what happened next, answer honestly. If you were my parents, would you cut them off for this? Or give one last warning? Comment 1 or 2. Melissa stood up. Angry now. She accused me of control. She said money didn't make me right. I nodded once. You're right. Money doesn't make me right. The deed makes me right. Brent put a hand on her arm and said they should go. For the first time all day. He sounded like he understood he'd pushed too far. They left. I walked Brent's proposal straight to the recycling bin. My dad let out a breath like it had been trapped in his chest for hours. My mom came in from the porch and sat on the arm of his recliner the way she's done my whole life. He put his hand over hers. My mom looked at me and said, How long have you been ready for that? About 2 weeks. I said. My dad shook his head slowly. Proud and overwhelmed. He said, I didn't tell them. I know. I told him. I know you didn't. We ate tomato soup later because it was cold out, and my mom said it was a soup kind of day. The soup was from a box, and it was still perfect because it tasted like relief. 10 days later, my mom called and said a real estate agent had stopped by and left a card. Looking forward to speaking with you about your options. It said. Melissa had referred her. I called the agent and told her the property was not for sale and would not be for sale. I told her any future contact would go through counsel. Her voice changed instantly. She apologized and said she understood. Then I called Melissa. She tried to defend it as exploring options. I told her, sending an agent to their door is not exploring. It is going around me because you could not go through me. I warned her once. No more professionals. No more contacts. No more attempts to create pressure. If it happened again, the attorney would handle it. After that, it stopped. A few months later, Melissa called me. Not about the house. She asked if I would talk to my niece for a school project about finance. Her voice was careful. Like an olive branch, she wasn't sure I'd accept. I said yes. I talked to my niece about compound interest and why reading the fine print matters. She asked smart questions. She reminded me that some families don't heal with speeches. They heal with small, honest moments and better boundaries. If you want more stories where receipts beat manipulation, hit subscribe.